Will meat politics leave our country quite literally bare-boned? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. There have been violent clashes on the campus of one of our premier universities, JNU. Let's take you through what we know so far. On Ram Navami, students say that they were attacked by another group. This is a clash between the left and the right affiliated students on campus, allegedly over the eating of meat in one of the hostels, the Kaveri hostel. The BJP affiliated ABVP says that meat eating was never the problem. They claimed that their puja on Ram Navami was stopped. The left affiliated students union says this is not true, releasing videos of a meat vendor who was in fact threatened and jeered on campus. Both sides have filed police complaints, and both sides say that their students have sustained serious injuries, including head injuries. The university has issued a warning to both groups, but quite clearly, what is happening outside campus is now making its way onto campus as well. As I said, meat is at the heart of this controversy on one of the most auspicious occasions on the Hindu calendar, Ram Navami. We're going to get perspectives from both sides of the student trenches, as it were. We're joined on the program from JNU by Madhurima. Madhurima is one of the students who witnessed what happened yesterday. She also sustained injuries. She's with the JNU Students Union, and she's blaming the ABVP, but we'll also be having one of the ABVP leaders joining us shortly from now. We're also joined by Professor Rama Baru. Professor Rama Baru, of course, is one of our best known public health specialists and is a professor at JNU. We're also joined by PKD Nambiar, who's an analyst and commentator, and veteran journalist Madhavan Narayanan joins us as well. So welcome to the program, Madhavan. Let me start by asking you, Madhurima, your account of what you say happened. We'll also then hear from Rohit of the ABVP as soon as he's able to connect to us. Firstly, how are you doing? We believe you were hurt as well. Are you okay now?
I would be lying if I say I'm okay. I have sustained injuries on my forehead. My nose is swollen. My eyes are hurting me a lot. I've got bruise on my arm. It's a deep bruise, and like similar injuries are sustained all over my body. So yeah, and that's the situation. And
What
obviously,
happened? How did you get that injury on your head and on your arm? What happened exactly?
everything started around in the afternoon when the meat supplier came to deliver meat, and ABVP chased them away, threatened the supplier. They heckled the mess manager, the mess committee members, and said that there won't be any serving of meat today. And in JNU, every Sunday, in all hostels, there is non-veg. Even yesterday, except for Kaveri, in all hostels there were some like chicken or mutton or fish was cooked in various hostels, and students ate, and students did have their dinner. So there's an option between vegetarian food and non-vegetarian food. If you prefer non-veg, you eat it. If you prefer veg, you eat it, and that's an option given to students. But yesterday, ABVP decided to tell students what they want to eat. So this is what happened in the afternoon. So after around hour and two, when we called for a meeting of all students organizations in the campus. We were in I was in the JNUSU office when around 7:30 7:45 I got to know that something has happened in Kaveri. ABP is beating up students who had went to the mess and were questioning why non-veg wasn't cooked. So, and I went there and I saw ABP beating up students as soon as I went, and they started kicking me on my leg, so that no video footages can be made of that. The injuries cannot be shown. And like my leg is badly hurt. So they started with that, and then gradually they came and slapped on my face. They were pulling women. They groped women, they groped their breasts, and they gave threats, रात को देख लेंगे तुमको, हमको पता है तुम कहाँ जाती हो रात को, हम तुमको तुम्हारे पास आएंगे देखेंगे. So these sort of threats were giving, and so such abusive languages, one just cannot understand, comprehend the kind of abusive languages, abuses they have thrown at us. So around 8:10, I fainted. I got unconscious, and I was taken inside the mess, and all students came to get protection from the beating. But even then, ABVP started pelting stones from outside and broke the doors, the glass doors of the mess. And it was then that we decided we need to move out of the hostel to be safe. And my friends gave me water. I was limping, but we all together tried to get out of the main gate. And it was then that we saw that even they had blocked the main gate. They picked up flower pots and hurled at us. वो जो खाना बनने का, जो 400 लोग का जब खाना बनता है बड़े बड़े भगोने में, जो उसका लिड होता है लगभग 3 kg के आसपास का, वो फेंक के मार रहा था. पत्थर, tube lights, and everything they got hands on. And it was then that Akhtarista, the girl who got injured on her forehead, she got hurt badly, and we brought her inside the mess, and she was screaming in pain, and we called for an ambulance. But the ambulance, like, the situation was such that the ambulance came at the main gate. ABVP had blocked the main gate of the Kaveri hostel, and we could not take her out of that hostel. We had to go through the backside. We had to get an injured woman who was shouting for help. We had to make her cross the boundary, the grill, the railing, and take her via auto to the hospital. That was the situation. And after that, and the worst part is the incompetence of the Delhi police. The SHO was there. The SHO was running for his own safety, and he knew. We have been calling for since 4 p.m. yesterday that the situation is not good. Give us
I mean,
protection.
it sounds horrific. And of course, we will be joined by Rohit, who's a leader of the ABVP. The ABVP, Madhurima, as you know, has a very different version. They say that they had no objection to students eating meat in Kaveri Hospital. They say that actually their puja was stopped. They wanted to organize a Ram Navami Puja, and that was in fact disrupted. What would you say to that allegation by them?
See, I can share a video. I think a lot of videos have been shared of yesterday when the puja was being held, and one side everyone is eating prasad, and on the other side iftar was also being done. So there was no obstruction to the puja. Everyone has their religious belief. They can follow their religious belief, and that's what JNU has always taught us. So there was no obstruction to the puja. It's a complete lie. This was a pre-planned attack. So if there was an obstruction to the puja, we would be seen, telling people that don't stop the puja. But why are they running after the meat vendor? So that's question number one. Why are they running after the meat vendor? Question number two, why did they threaten the mess manager that no non-veg can be cooked? So these are some questions. Let ABVP answer these questions. If they are saying that the question is not over meat, it definitely is a question of what we want to eat, and also it's not a religious thing, because see, a lot of practicing Hindus do eat non-vegetarian. Non-vegetarian is part of culture. Like Bengali Brahmins eat meat. Even in Durga Puja, the biggest festivity of Bengalis. I am from West Bengal. That's why eating meat is part of my culture. So not why will ABVP say what one can eat and what one cannot? Even to practicing Hindus, like, it cannot dictate anyone's food choice.
Yeah. Madhurima, firstly, it's just a sort of horrible sense of deja vu when it comes to JNU and this violence on campus, and, the fact that the police was there, standing there, doing nothing. And stay with us. And as I said, we're going to have an ABVP representation very soon. I'm told that he's trying to join our program, and we'll have him very soon. But we do have the meat vendor that you spoke about. There's a video online, and you can see that vendor actually being threatened. It's a very short video, but we're just going to play it for our audience. Listen it.
लेके चल जाओ भाई, पैसा इधर फर्जी नहीं मिलेगा। वार्डन बोले इवेंट जो है, इवेंट का परमिशन नहीं है। पीछे जाओ इधर। अरे वार्डन को बोलो ना भाई।
So you can see clearly that the meat vendor is being asked to leave, and you can hear in the background that somebody is saying, "यहाँ पूजा है, इसको लेके चले जाओ. यहाँ पे today, you should not be here." Professor Rama Baru, this is it's just tragic because otherwise JNU has been a historic center of excellence. It continues to perform well actually in university rankings and so on. But every few months, what actually is happening, the sort of polarized debates that were happening off campus make their way onto campus. That's fine. That's what universities are for. But then they take a violent shape, and that's what's tragic. A healthy debate, that's what campus life is all about. How do you see what's happened in the last 24 hours, ma'am?
Firstly, Barkha, I have been a warden in a hostel on campus. I've taught there for close to 3 decades. The way I see this particular incident is a continuum of what has happened for the last 3 to 4 years with a certain license for Gundaism, which we did not see earlier. We had differences of opinion, we had very difficult arguments, and we as wardens have always played a very, very important role in ensuring that there is peaceful dialogue among students and maintaining certain basic decorum. That decorum broke, Barkha, unfortunately, in the last 5 years in this university, and there is a certain lack of administrative engagement and punishment of those who were errant in the earlier episodes. This has just emboldened certain elements to continue to do what they please and to feel very entitled to carry out this kind of Gundaism. I also want to say that vegetarianism is not something that all Hindus follow. Majority of Hindus are non-vegetarians, and there is evidence to show that across this country. So, I mean, I find that this kind of beating up Gundaism is absolutely not part of the democratic culture that we all built and fostered with our students over so many decades to make it a place of excellence. We have just gone the way Delhi University went, and some of the other universities have gone. It's a very, very shameful day for us today.
And you believe that because, ma'am, action was not taken last time, there is a kind of hooliganism with impunity?
I do. And we don't have to, we all know that even in the last very major incident in JNU, FIRs were filed, there were videos as evidence, but there was no action from either the police or the university administration. Let's be very clear on that.
Yeah. Let me get Madhavan to bring in his perspective. I can see Rohit Kumar of the ABVP with us. Rohit ji, namaskar. आपसे 2 मिनट में मैं आपका भी perspective लूंगी. मधुरिमा यहाँ हमारे साथ है. उन्होंने बहुत विस्तार से बताया कि कल क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ. But Madhavan, let's bring you in now for your perspective, and then we'll get the ABVP perspective as well. Yeah.
I think, Barkha, enough has been said by Dr. Rama Baru on what's happening in the campus, including its history of debate. But I couldn't help the irony of what you said when you said that universities are all about healthy debates. Honestly, that is being challenged in the current atmosphere. That is a nationwide phenomenon that I notice. It is like a project in which new non-negotiable no-go areas are being defined, whether it comes to debate or whether it comes to everyday practices. So I've coined a term for it. I call it the social deconstitutionalization of India. That sounds like a mouthful, but what is happening is that if you look at the history of JNU over the past 7 years, not 3, 4 as Rama Baru says, right from the incident involving Kanhaiya Kumar, in which a narrative was built around Tukde Tukde gang, as they called it, although there is no evidence about who said what during that incident. From there has been a systematic pattern. The last one was the Kashmir Files movie, in which JNU has been ideologically demonized by a narrative. So this should be seen as a endorsement and the perpetuation perpetualization of that narrative through systematic action, which in which the most important point to remember is that the narrative that you define of a healthy debate, or the narrative that the Constitution defines of all kinds of faiths and practices, the narrative of the Rig Veda, which says, "Let noble thoughts come to all from us from all sides."
But
All things.
who's to blame, Madhavan? You're giving a philosophical exposition
No,
here. I
it
am
is not.
I want to just remind all of our viewers. Sorry, I'm interrupting you because the JNU internet lines are so bad. I just want to get the ABVP perspective. We keep losing either Rohit or Madhurima. We heard at length from Madhurima. Let's hear from Rohit also. रोहित, मधुरिमा ने हमें बहुत विस्तार से बताया कि उनका जो अकाउंट था कि मीट को लेके किस तरह झगड़ा हुआ, ये जेएनयू के ट्रेडिशन के खिलाफ है। जिसको मीट खाना है वो खाए, जिसको नहीं खाना है वो ना खाए। एक वीडियो सबने देखा जहां पे जो मीट बेचने आते हैं उनको बोला जाता है आप यहां से जाइए, यहां आज आपको मीट बेचने की परमिशन नहीं होगी। एबीवीपी डिनाई करती है कि ये नॉन वेजिटेरियन खाने को लेके झगड़ा था। तो आपके मुताबिक ये झगड़ा किस वजह से हुआ, और अगर मीट को लेके नहीं था तो वो जो मीट बेचने आए थे, वो वीडियो आपने भी देखा होगा, उनको क्यों भगाया गया वहां से?
बरखा जी, सबसे पहले जेएनयू में जो 17 हॉस्टल है, मेस जो है स्टूडेंट लेड, स्टूडेंट ऑन और स्टूडेंट रन है। 17 में से 16 हॉस्टल में चिकन बना है। शिप्रा में तो ये कंप्लेंट आई है कि चिकन में ज्यादा वो है, नमक है। दूसरी बात, जब पूजा हुई, पूजा 7 दिन पहले से डिस्टर्ब करने की प्लानिंग थी, जब प्लानिंग स्टेज में ही था उस समय कि आपको पूजा नहीं करने देंगे। दूसरा, 3 दिन पहले जब पोस्टर बना तब भी ये क्लियर था कि हम तुम्हारे पूजा में वो डालेंगे, क्या कहते हैं कि हड्डियां डालेंगे। एक दिन पहले क्या हुआ कि रात को फर्जी नोटिस कौन बना के भेजता है? वार्डन ने भी, डीन ने भी क्लैरिफाई किया कि ये नोटिस जो है ये फेक है। तो यानी पहले से जो प्लानिंग थी पूजा के दिन 3:30 बजे,
कौन सा नोटिस? नहीं, कौन सा नोटिस?
आपको बताया भी नहीं है किसी ने। एक फेक नोटिस बना के किसी ने लीक किया था। आपके चैनल को आपको पता होना चाहिए, सुबह से ये चीजें चल रही है, हम मीडिया में बता रहे हैं। अभी हम आपको दिखाएंगे, भी ऑनलाइन भी दिखा सकते हैं, मोबाइल में है। दूसरी बात, ये नोटिस बना के ये करना कि आप पूजा नहीं कर सकते। वार्डन ने भी ये किया कि ये तो यूनिवर्सिटी का स्पेस है, हॉस्टल का स्पेस है, हॉस्टल के लोग जैसे इस्तेमाल करना चाहते हैं। 17 में से 16, कई हॉस्टल में हमारे भी मेस सेक्रेटरी है, वहां तो चिकन बना है। हमें चिकन खाने से, किसी के चिकन खाने से कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, और मैं वहां मौजूद था। देखिए, 3:30 बजे पूजा होनी थी। इन लोगों के रकस के कारण ये लोग आके वहां रोक रहे थे। फिर हम लोगों ने मीडिया को भी इत्तला किया, पुलिस को भी, प्रशासन को भी। फिर वो पूजा इन्हीं के कारण 2 घंटे लेट हुई। 2 घंटे लेट हुई, 5:30 बजे शुरू हुई, जब सहरी का टाइम होता है, इफ्तार का टाइम होता है। मैंने ही वीडियो बनाया, मैं वहां था, लोगों ने मुझे इफ्तार का वो ऑफर किया, हम लोगों ने प्रसाद ऑफर किया, बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से, कोई मारपीट कुछ नहीं हुई। लिफ्ट का वहां नामो निशान नहीं था, क्योंकि ये प्रोटेस्ट करके, हल्ला हंगामा करके वापस चले जा चुके थे। दूसरी बात, ये सारा प्रोटेस्ट, सारी चीजें शुरू होती है रात के 8:30 बजे। 150 लोगों का हुजूम लेकर के आप वार्डन से बात करने 150 लोगों के साथ जाते हो क्या? नक्सली कोर्ट है ये तो आप कॉपी कलम लेके जाओगे कि लाठी डंडा पत्थर ये सब चीजें लेके जाओगे वहां जाके? इसका मतलब कॉन्सर्टेड अटैक था बरखा जी, कावेरी हॉस्टल के ऊपर ये कॉन्सर्टेड अटैक था। वहां पे जाके झंडा फाड़ना हो, या फिर लोगों को धमकाना हो, दिव्यांगों को मारना हो, छात्राओं को, दिव्या के हाथ में चोट लगी, श्रीदेवी की छाती में चोट लगी, ये सब करना। कौन थे? कावेरी का इसमें से कोई रेसिडेंट नहीं था। कावेरी के रेसिडेंट को कोई लेना देना नहीं। मुस्लिम स्टूडेंट्स जिन्होंने चंदा दिया, इनफैक्ट जो हमारी विचारधारा के नहीं है, और माइंड क्लियर हो जाए कि एबीवीपी का कार्यक्रम ये नहीं था, वहां के छात्रों ने कार्यक्रम ऑर्गेनाइज किया था। जेएनयू में कल्चर है, अलग अलग हॉस्टल अलग अलग कार्यक्रम करते हैं, झेलम सम्मेलन करता है, गंगा जो है वो फूड फेस्टिवल करता है, हिमांडवी महारुद्राभिषेक करता है, नर्मदा भी करता है, कावेरी भी करता है। तो हमारे विचारधारा से जो लोग नहीं थे वो चंदा भी दिए थे। मुस्लिम लोगों ने स्टेटमेंट निकाला, कंसर्न मुस्लिम स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ जेएनयू, क्लियर लिखा है कि हमारा लाइन एबीवीपी के लाइन से मैच करता है। उस समय एमिकेबली, बिना किसी प्रदर्शन के साथ, बिना किसी हल्ला हंगामा के साथ ये चीजें हुई हैं।
अच्छा, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ,
8:30 बजे सारा कार्यक्रम, ये मारपीट 8:30 बजे शुरू हुई है, क्योंकि ये बौखला गए थे कि जेएनयू में 4 कार्यक्रम रामनवमी से रिलेटेड कैसे हो गए। एक तो राष्ट्रीय कला मंच द्वारा, एक इस्कॉन का भजन, दूसरा आज उस दिन का हवन के पहले इन लोगों ने धमकी भी दिया था, तीसरा विवेकानंद यानी वेदांत स्थल पे कार्यक्रम, वहां पे हनुमान चालीसा का पाठ। तो जेएनयू में ऐसी चीजें हो रही है तो बौखलाहट किनकी हो रही है? हम लोग तो कभी मारपीट में इन्वॉल्व नहीं थे।
अच्छा, सुनिए रोहित जी, एक सवाल मेरा, फिर मैं मधुरिमा से पूछूंगी, और फिर आई नीड टू गेट द अदर पैनलिस्ट हु बीन वेटिंग वेरी पेशेंटली। ये जो मीट के जो बेचने आए थे, आपने भी वो वीडियो देखा होगा, जिनको कहा जाता है कि आप यहाँ से चले जाइए। अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि मोस्ट हॉस्टल्स में एक्चुअली कल रात को चिकन बड़ी आराम से सर्व हुआ, तो वो जो मीट लेके आए थे उनको जाने के लिए क्यों कहा गया था रोहित जी?
देखिए, ये जो घटना है, जो वीडियो बनी है, वो 3:30 बजे की थी। हमारी पूजा
हाँ।
उस वक्त प्रारंभ होने वाली थी, हम पूजा की तैयारियों में थे। क्लियर।
ओके।
हमारा देखिए, फिर से क्लियर कर देता हूँ, हम कोई चिकन खाए, उस दिन भी चिकन खाओ, हमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं। जैसे हम डिक्टेट करने वाले नहीं होते, लेफ्ट भी डिक्टेट नहीं कर सकता है कि उस दिन मेस में चिकन ही बने। जो वहां के लोग हैं वो डिसाइड करेंगे ना। बरखा जी, मैं और आप तो डिसाइड नहीं करेंगे, ये तो क्लियर कट है। उनके ऊपर उनकी एजेंसी होनी चाहिए। यही चीज तो मुस्लिम स्टूडेंट ने लिखा है कि हमारी एजेंसी हो। इसमें दूसरे बाहर के लोग आके क्यों डिसाइड कर रहे हैं कि चिकन बनाओ? आप, चिकन का मुद्दा नहीं है, मुद्दा है रामनवमी का। मुद्दा है कि उस दिन पूजा हुई ही क्यों, वहां है
अच्छा,
मेन इशू।
एक
3 दिन
मिनट,
पहले नहीं, तो आप बताइए इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन क्या है? फेक नोटिस का कोई एक्सप्लेनेशन हो सकता है क्या?
Madhurima, would you like to comment on this? That they are continuing, the ABVP continues to say that the left student union had a problem with visible display of faith on campus कि ये 4 रामनामी की पूजा क्यों हुई, और कॉन्फ्लिक्ट उस बात को लेके हुआ। अगर मीट को लेके होता तो बाकी हॉस्टल्स में कैसे कुछ नहीं हुआ? Would you like to comment, Madhurima?
देखिए, पूजा यहाँ पे मतलब एबीवीपी सारा पूजा, सरस्वती पूजा से लेके दुर्गा पूजा, शिवरात्रि, सब सारा पूजा मनाता है। कोई कभी कुछ नहीं बोलने गया और कल भी कोई नहीं बोलने गया। ये बिल्कुल झूठ बात है। अगर रोहित जी बोल रहे हैं कि ना एबीवीपी डिसाइड करेगा ना लेफ्ट डिसाइड करेगा, सही बात है। जो यहाँ जेएनयू में नियम है, जो हॉस्टल है, हॉस्टल कमेटी बनता है, वो डिसाइड करता है कि उसे क्या खाना है। उस महीने का मेन्यू पहले ही डेट पे डिसाइड हो जाता है। महीने के पहले डेट पे वो स्टूडेंट्स मिलके जीबीएम के थ्रू डिसाइड करते हैं। तो रोहित जी दिखा दे कोई ऐसा साइन सिग्नेचर किया हुआ स्टूडेंट्स का जहाँ पे वो बोल रहे हैं कि हमको नहीं खाना संडे को चिकन, वो दिखा दे। वो तब से कोई नोटिस बोल रहा है, नोटिस अभी तक दिखा नहीं पाए हैं। और बोल रहे हैं कि स्टूडेंट्स कॉन्सेंट के साथ नहीं खाना चाहते थे संडे को, तो दिखाए। अगर ऐसा होता है, मेस मेन्यू में कोई भी चेंज ऐसा लाना होता है तो सबका सिग्नेचर लिया जाता है, तो सिग्नेचर शीट दिखाए हमें।
Okay. Now, Rohit and Madhurima, I must allow the others to speak because that's fair. Rohit, मैं आपको एक सेंटेंस का रिस्पॉन्स दूंगी, बोलिए आप रोहित।
जी, जेएनयू में कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि इन लोगों ने हमारे साथ दिक्कत नहीं की है। हर पूजा में डिस्टरबेंस किया है। 2000 बर्टन क्लिटस का नाम हो, हाईकोर्ट में केस रजिस्टर्ड है। माँ दुर्गा के अपमान का नाम हो, वो भी केस रजिस्टर्ड है। साथ में स्कूल ऑफ एनवायरमेंटल साइंसेज में मारपीट किया, सरस्वती पूजा नहीं करने दिया। अभी जो हिंदू नव वर्ष के पोस्टर लगाए गए उसको फाड़ दिया। क्या इतिहास ये बता रहे हैं कि कभी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता? हर बार प्रॉब्लम किया, इन्हीं लोगों ने प्रॉब्लम किया है।
चलिए, अब हमने दो बहुत अलग अलग वर्जन सुने हैं ऑफ द सेम conflict that took place. Madhavan, I'll bring you in. Madhurima and Rohit, my only request to both of you is that I request both of you to speak one by one. I promise to give both of you equal space and equal time to make your points, and just to keep it civil, at least on this program, we don't want you both to fight. We want you to be able to debate as students do. Madhavan, go ahead.
Very quickly, Barkha, 2 or 3 things. First is the chain of events are such that it requires either a judicial inquiry or an administrative inquiry. It's not for something of a media program, which becomes something like a tutu mama with no independent verification possible. But a larger perspectives that I have is that the language used by both Rohit and Madhurima shows a sheer politicization of JNU of the kind that we are used to seeing in Bengal or Kerala. There has been a Keralification of the JNU, which is a very sad comment on what is happening. At the same time, I also see a very subtle but clear cancel culture emerging from the right of the spectrum. You see, what is happening in JNU is, this is not like Las Vegas that what happens in JNU stays in JNU. This is very clearly part of a larger media and social narrative in which a certain kind of insensitivity is being heaped as a charge on both the left and the even the secular liberals, because a narrative has been built, whether we like it or not, or we should have the courage to accept that a narrative has been built that this is a Hindu country in which Hindus are not allowed to perform what they are entitled to. And this is going against the constitutional equality that we have historically observed and very meticulously practiced in the kind of New Delhi, Barkha, you and I grew up in. So this has been a social deconstitutionalization of India. And we need to debate that at a larger level, in which we also see that southern India, even Tamil Nadu, is now emerging as a new center of challenging the discourse, which goes back.
Let me pick up this point you make about the politicization.
It is very clearly part of a national project, whether we like it or not. a new kind of debate is being settled on where should the needle be in the definition of secularism.
PKD Nambiar, I think what Madhavan calls the Keralification or the Bengalification of the JNU campus, where students are coming to each other, reflecting the larger politics of the time, where it is almost like there is that movie Rashomon, where people recount the truth in completely different ways, and that is actually what we've seen here with Madhurima and Rohit. One saying 16 hostels served chicken, but there is a video of the vendor being asked to go, to which Rohit says that us samay Pooja thi, so we didn't want him. And you've heard both of them. Go ahead, Mr. Nambiar.
No, absolutely. I think when there is a violence...
1 second, Rohit, are you trying to say something?
You misquoted me. That was not my point.
अच्छा बताइए आप क्या बोल रहे हैं? What am I
not my point. हम पूजा में इन्वॉल्व थे, हमारे लोग वेंडर को रोकने रखने कहीं नहीं गए थे, हम पूजा में इन्वॉल्व थे, उस वक्त की एक घटना है, हमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं है. We don't have any problem. Anyone can consume anything, and even some of our activists are mess secretaries of various hostels, and their meat has been served. अगर रोकना ही था तो एक हॉस्टल में क्यों रोकते? आप कॉमन सेंस लगाओ ना यार. हर जगह में सर्व हुआ है. कावेरी के रेसिडेंट्स लोगों ने, मैम, कावेरी के रेसिडेंट्स ने डिसाइड जो किया था वो हुआ, लेकिन खाना नहीं खाने दिया गया उन लोगों को. 8:30 बजे 150 लोगों का हुजूम लाके कावेरी पे अटैक किया गया. वो बात मैं बोल रहा हूँ, ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि हम लोग मतलब जाके पूजा के कारण रोक रहे थे. ये मिसकोट कर रही हैं आप, फिर से
नहीं. अच्छा सुनिए, मैं वो वीडियो दोबारा प्ले करती हूँ, आप मुझे बस बता दीजिए 1 मिनट, उस वीडियो को दोबारा देख लेते हैं. Can we play that? हाँ,
that they are not our people. Our people were involved.
All right. Then I won't play it again. PKD Nambiar, go ahead.
No, you can play it. It's up to you.
कोई बात नहीं. PKD Nambiar, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I think Rohit, it's a discussion. So I think I was also an ABVP activist in my college and the school days. But I think when in a discussion, I think let us have some kind of a composed way. I am sure that you must have had a bad day yesterday or whatever it may be. One thing we need to understand, as the madam said, that the former warden of JNU, it is why JNU has been in the news for wrong reasons from the last 3-4 days. Why? 3-4 years. It is primarily because, as Madhavan said, there is a Keralification and the Bengalification of effort in JNU. That means the left, even for an example in Bengal or in Bengal, now it has become much better. Even in Kerala, no other, even an NSUI or an ABVP cannot function in most of the campuses. Even if they do it, they will either be killed or attacked, brutally attacked. That is the culture of left everywhere. They are the most intolerant people anywhere you can see. Either them or even I belong to a place where which we call it like a party village. No other people, even a congressman cannot enter. Forget about a BJP guy. So I think that the intolerance of left and ABVP coming up much faster and becoming a real force in JNU is not being able to be digested by these so-called Bengal or the Kerala.
And my question still remains that the ABVP and the left can argue till they want to all night vociferously, but when it takes the shape of violence is the time.
That is not the place.
When. Sorry,
I just complete. Yeah, I just complete. Yeah. See, if you really look at the history of violence in the campuses in India, across the country, you just study. I have done quite a bit of studies. In fact, I have even written an article. 90% of the violence do take place either in Kerala or in the erstwhile the Bengal, where the SFI or the left, even in the SFI cannot even tolerate AISF. That is the CPI left front organization.
Yes.
This has been the culture of these people. What we need to do is that I think I am a hardcore non-vegetarian. I eat chicken, and I had even in my lunch I had a fish today. So I don't think that whether it is in an ABVP, even somebody was telling that a few days, Sabah Naqvi was tweeted that a picture with the former Prime Minister of India, AB Vajpayee, he used to relish the non-vegetarian food. Most of the Sangh Parivar or the ABVP or a BJP people do eat non-vegetarian, as like most of the maybe 70 to 80% of the Hindus across the country do eat non-veg as the part of their stuff. So I think ABVP, or for that matter, anybody whomsoever is objecting for not to eat the food, that is not acceptable. And I think whatever I have been...
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you with limited time. Rohit, since you said you misquoted me, before I go to Professor Rama Baru, I want you to just have an opportunity. First, I thought आप कह रहे हैं कि जब वो मीट वेंडर आए तो उस समय पूजा चल रही थी, इसलिए उस समय उनको बोला गया कि आप कह रहे हैं कि नहीं, आपके लोगों ने उस
कभी
वेंडर
नहीं
को
बोला हम
कुछ
लोगों
नहीं
ने
बोला।
ये,
ठीक है,
कभी
तो मैं ये
मैंने
बस
ये कभी नहीं बोला,
क्लैरिफाई
आप
कर रही
गलत
हूँ।
समझ लिए हो।
मैं वही
नेवर सेड दैट
क्लैरिफाई कर रही हूँ, मैं वही आप
जी।
क्योंकि आपने वो पॉइंट आउट किया, मैं उसको रिइटरेट कर रही हूँ। तो आपके मुताबिक ये झगड़ा किस मुद्दे पे शुरू हुआ?
झगड़ा मुद्दे पे शुरू हुआ जब भी जेएनयू में हिंदू से रिलेटेड कोई भी फेस्टिवल होता है, छोटा से छोटा भी, ये पक्का विरोध करते हैं, पक्का उसको डिस्टर्ब करते हैं। ये बोल रही है ना आसानी से हो जाता है, नहीं होता, बहुत संघर्ष करना पड़ता है, बहुत ही संघर्ष के साथ होता है। ये मौसम ऐसा है, इस मौसम में लेफ्ट के लोग पाकिस्तान से लाल बैंड बुलाया करते थे और कल्चरल प्रोग्राम्स कराते थे, कश्मीर का रोमांटिसाइजेशन कराते थे। छुट्टी नहीं है, नेट आपके पास है, आप ढूंढ के देख लो। लेकिन क्या हुआ है, अभी वो आ नहीं पा रहे हैं, ऐसे कल्चरल प्रोग्राम्स हो रहे हैं, छात्र जो है अपना गिटार उठा के, कोई तबला उठा के कहीं भी जैमिंग सेशन कर ले रहा है, कहीं कोई म्यूजिक बजा ले रहा है, इनके साथ एसोसिएट नहीं हो रहे। म्यूजिक को एज ए पर्पस यूज किया करते थे ये लोग।
अच्छा।
अब म्यूजिक अपने आप में वो हो जा रहा है, लोग अट्रैक्ट हो रहे हैं, यहाँ प्रॉब्लम है।
अच्छा,
जेएनयू
सुनिए
कैंपस में
सुनिए
जो
एक मिनट।
पॉजिटिव स्पेस है उससे दिक्कत है लेफ्ट को, ये रियलिटी है।
Okay, Madhurima's back with us, but I want Professor Baru and Madhavan to come in on a larger perspective. How does a campus escape or avoid the politics that is all around us? The campus will reflect it. I think that is what you're seeing here. The debates around religion, whether Hindus indeed are sort of unable to manifest their faith. These are all conversations that are happening in our political space today, and they are spilling over, whether it's conversations around meat, though Rohit has said again and again that was not the issue, but I'm making a general point. Rama, please go ahead.
I just want to say that the larger atmosphere that we have seen over the last 7 years, thank you for correcting me, COVID has always deducted 2 years away from my life. From Kanhaiya Kumar's time to now, see, I want to say that, yes, there is left politics and there is right politics on campus. And there has also been a very large middle and a liberal atmosphere. And I think we need to celebrate the fact that the liberal atmosphere also had conversations with both the left and the right. And I also want to say that Saraswati Puja has been celebrated for years on campus. I can't remember, maybe 20 years. It's a time for celebration. People dress beautifully. Women wear their lovely saris. There is a pandal. There is a puja. There is prasad. I have never seen tensions of this kind. I have never seen the left. In fact, even in Bengal, I'm sorry to differ with you about Bengalification and Keralification. Bengal, the Durga Puja is a social event. It is not seen divisive politics. Now you're appropriating everything to say this is Hindu. I mean, I'm a Hindu by birth, but the point I'm trying to make is that I want to make a second point very quickly, is that I agree with Mr. Madhavan that there requires an administrative inquiry into this matter.
Okay.
I agree with Rohit and Madhurima that we have decentralized bodies in hostels. However, the responsibility of the concerned warden, who is the mess warden, who is the senior warden, cannot be abdicated in a situation like this. Students have spaces, but those spaces are supervised by administrative authority. And the lowest in the hostel authority is the warden. And they are the ones who are face to face in a situation. So I would say that my colleagues who are wardens today have to also be questioned in terms of what happened and what was their role in this.
Okay, let me start taking last comments. I'll start with you, Mr. Nambiar, since you have to leave a little bit early. Go ahead, and then Madhavan, and then we'll give both the students, the last word. PKD.
So I agree with everybody in the panels. Colleges and universities are the place where one needs to debate, discuss, deliberate, and educate. But it is not the place, and it is also the place where you have, no matter what you say, that we are a Hindu society which has which has got a 5,000-year-old history. Saraswati Puja is considered to be a puja which we are the only religion which has got a goddess for other than the Greek, that goddess for education. So I think the people who needs to be, as Madam said, that from the Kanhaiya Kumar to the episodes one after another, if you really look at it, the Tukde gang, of the people who are for Afzal Guru, such kind of things are happening from JNU, do give an impression that it is not anymore the place of an excellence, but it is becoming a place where a large number of people who have motivated with an aim and coming there and studying forever. So I think it's the responsibility of the students and the employees and the people at the JNU to correct the image of JNU rather than putting up.
I think JNU has also become a metaphor. JNU has also become a metaphor for the times. And just to clarify to Rama, the nomenclature of the Bengalification or the Keralification is Madhavan's. And I understood that to mean that this kind of extreme polarity of conversation, where the sort of central space, Rama, that you referenced is fast evaporating. Madhavan, go ahead before I give the students the last word. Madhavan?
Just to clarify on Dr. Baru's point, I was talking about Kerala and Bengal in terms of politics, not in terms of everyday culture where Durga Puja and everything is celebrated. So it's well documented that the SFI versus RSS clash is very horrible. What is sad is it's come into JNU in a manner, instead of becoming a clash of ideologies, it's becoming a clash of cancel cultures. So it's like you cancel me, I'll cancel you, and we'll both provoke each other, which is very sad. What has resulted, Barkha, which you and I would definitely be biased towards, is a cancellation of a liberal discourse. The middle has been hollowed out of this. So we need the middle has to seize the middle ground in this, so that this country and its premier institution can go back to a steered debate of the kind we had in the Constitutional Assembly. We don't want mob violence pretending to be debates. That I send that message both to the left and right, and let me be the monkey in the two cats. We need to have a middle ground in which the true spirit of the Rig Veda or the discourse is restored. This is the land of Nachiketa. We need to. You even ask the god of death hard questions. We are welcome to ask questions, but if you're going to wield a lathi where I need to ask a hard question, it shows that you are ideologically hollow, whether you're right or left.
I think we all agree with what you've just said, Madhavan. Madhurima, very quickly to both you and Rohit. What do you expect now, Madhurima? What do you expect now?
See, we expect that not just in JNU, across the country, people be allowed to eat what they want. That's a personal choice. That's a choice based on one's culture, one's upbringing, and that's the bottom line. And the fight here is our right to food and choice of food. What one wants to eat, they should be able to eat that without anyone telling them, forcing them, or anything. We really and of course the administration yesterday, the administration, the Delhi police failed. They were incompetent to deal with the situation. The administration has come up with a very bad press release in which and see, this is not the first time this sort of violence by ABVP has been happening. We saw 5th January 2020 on how the JNUSU president was attacked, and a lot of other students were attacked when students were fighting against fee hike. So this and even in the lockdown, ABVP has assaulted students multiple times. So this is what the ABVP does for whatsoever purpose.
And Rohit, last word. Both of you have filed. Both, when I say both of you, I don't.
Ma'am was telling that violence has never happened and Saraswati Puja has been going on, but this is some violence that was been not reported. See, for example, when Durga Puja used to happen, there was violence. People used to throw meat into the Havan Kund. Same dhamki, same threatening. Where we were threatened with the same lines. Secondly, the left has a history of violence in JNU and outside JNU. The Ram Navami, they did not allow to celebrate in Central University of Karnataka and other universities. Similarly, they didn't allow us to celebrate here. They were not allowing, they were not permitting. They were threatening us, we will not let you. That's what they did at 3:30 p.m. That's why the puja was delayed until 5:30 p.m. If we had violence in our agenda, Why would not have we have fought till then? It was only when Ram Navami happened, very well the puja happened, and in the late night they gathered with sticks, stones. Harendra Sheshma from SFI, he can be seen in the video pelting stones. Even the Prabhakar from School of Physical Sciences, he can be seen. That is what, and we want protection. Yesterday night we did not go to our hostels. We slept. We stood at the. We didn't sleep even. We were standing at the main gate in light, so that we could not be attacked.
Okay.
So we want our security, we want our campus back, we want our campus to be positive. It will not to be utilized by any party, especially the left. Take to care that they don't pelt stones and they don't lathi charge us.
Okay, two completely differing perspectives. I can only end with what Madhavan and Dr. Baru have underlined. One, you need an administrative inquiry, because this is now caught in a sort of whirlpool of claims and counterclaims, completely differing accounts, competitive videos, all that can be in a way invoked to construct a completely different story. But the larger point, I think, Madhavan, is what you said, that how can a campus by definition, university life by definition, has to be about disagreement and rebellion and lots of passionate arguments. But when that takes the shape of violence, that's when you have to really get worried, especially when it's happening at an institute, a premier institute. I'm sure both Rohit and Madhurima take great pride in being students of JNU, and I hope that pride will restore their capacity and our capacity as a nation for conversation, even amid disagreements. Thank you, Dr. Baru. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Madhurima and Madhavan. And to our audience, see you tomorrow. Goodbye. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.